Manga-Waido.
My name is Satomi Inoue, and I work in an office. I've been here for 3 years now and even have juniors. I'm a hard worker. Everyone at my company is super nice, except for one guy who is 4 years my senior. His name is Akagi, and he got in through his connections. He has a stuck-up attitude towards everyone. One moment he might say,
"Stop asking me stupid questions! I'm busy! Decide by yourself!"
Then the next he would say,
"Why didn't you ask me first? Our client is furious! None of this would have happened had you asked me first!"
In other words, he had double standards for other people and himself. Because he got in via connections, even the sections managers and heads of department found it difficult to criticize him. His double standards went beyond strictly work-related activities. For example, he would say,
"The aircon should be set to 28 degrees as per standards. Hurry up and turn it back up to the correct temperature."
On the exact same day, he'd then say,
"It's boiling outside! Why the hell is the aircon so hot?"
and turn it all the way down to 18 degrees. Too much, right? Once he sufficiently cooled down, and when the juniors had returned to the office, he would say,
"Office temp must be 28 degrees.
He'd see the sweating juniors and intentionally turn the aircon temperature back up again. He's just so mean. It's terrifying that no one can stop him. His behavior kept getting worse each day.
Me? Getting transferred? No, that's not happening. Hey Morioka, you can go. Sorry, me? Fresh employees need the experience. It's for your own good. But why have you never transferred? Are you seriously answering back at me? I'm on track towards senior management at the head office. I don't need to work in the suburbs. Section manager, you agree with me, right? Imagine what my uncle would say if he'd heard I'd been transferred."
Ultimately, the junior was forced to transfer. Poor guy had only just recently started dating a new girl. He was disappointed they now have to do long distance. But I'd only been at the company for 3 years, and there was nothing I could do about it. I wished him luck and bid him farewell. Akagi became even more arrogant after this incident. He would abuse his juniors and blame his peers for his mistakes. Overtime work increased because of him, and we even had to apologize to our clients for some of his mistakes. Perhaps he noticed the reprimanding looks I was giving him. He began to take advantage of me. Not only would he make me work overtime and deal with troublesome customers, whenever he made a mistake, he'd say, "Inoue said she'd handle it, so I left it to her," and shoulder the blame onto me. He's not gonna do this to me. "Boss, Akagi-senpai said he'd be in charge of this case. I have an email and a voice recording to prove it. If you try to hide this, I'm going straight to senior management." My boss had no choice but to take my proof and words seriously and have a word with Akagi. Akagi was taken into a conference room and reprimanded for almost an hour. Serves him right. My colleagues were super happy with what I'd done. Well done! Go you! But that wasn't the end of it. Akagi held a grudge over me and began to attack me behind my boss's back.
"You! Do all of this!
This is too much for one day.
What I say is final! I told you to get it done by yesterday, right?"
And I said it was too much to get done within working hours.
"I don't care what it takes! Stay overnight if you have to! You need to take work more seriously!"
I was pissed, but there was nothing I could do. Times were hard, and finding a new job wouldn't be easy. I decide I'd bear it until either of us gets transferred elsewhere. One day on my way to work, I got an unexpected call from my mother. Why was she calling me at this hour? I nervously picked up the phone. Oh, no. My grandfather, who was in hospital at the time, had become very weak. I notified my work of my absence and rushed to the hospital. However, as if waiting for me to arrive, my grandfather passed away. After crying for a while, I calmed myself down and informed my work about my loss. But as luck would have it, the one who picked up the phone was...
"So, your old granddad kicked the bucket. Big deal. People don't miss work over something like that."
But there's a 3-day bereavement policy.
"You can't take 3 days off! There's work to do! Cremate your grandfather and get straight back to work! Got it?"
I was so taken aback, I sat down on the floor in the hospital. Later on, Akagi messaged me saying,
Tomorrow's just the wake, right? You better come in during the day.
he was just so incredibly mean.
Missing work over your grandfather's death? This is why women are useless.
I switched off my notifications and decided not to look at my phone. I was so overcome with sadness and regret, I began to cry. Thankfully, my boss took pity on me and allowed me to take leave as per company policy, but heading to work after returning from leave, I was certain I was going to get shouted out by Akagi. But surprisingly, the office was quiet. Where's Akagi, I thought. What? Is he crying?
Taro! Taro! I can't work thinking what might happen to Taro. Please let me go home!
A colleague informed me that Taro was apparently Akagi's beloved pet dog who'd been in an accident and was on the brink of death. Akagi prepared to go home while sobbing. I was saddened to hear about his dog, but what's this attitude after giving me such a hard time about my grandfather? I felt a surge of anger overcome me, but decided it wouldn't be prudent to say anything now, and just made a fist. Completely unaware, Akagi approached me and started dropping files into my hand.
You! Do all of these! I'm going to be away tomorrow, and the day after, looking after Taro!
I felt rage boiling inside of me, and my face turning a bright shade of pink. But what really pushed me over the edge was what he said next.
You're to hit both your own and my sales targets! And the 2 contracts you currently have, I'm taking credit for them!
That's ridiculous! Going home because your dog is about to die? Giving me extra work? Taking credit for my work? I can't believe this! All animals eventually die. Quit making such a fuss! You're wasting everyone's time over something as trivial as this. Please take your work more seriously. Everyone was stunned because they'd never seen me mad.
My Taro is on the brink of death! You do not want to make me your enemy!
Just at that moment appeared a man who'd been chatting with the boss, a well-dressed fellow I believe worked in head office and was...
Uncle! Just the person I needed! This girl is being completely out of order. Taro's dying, and she keeps saying it's no big deal and is forcing me to work. We can't have someone like this working here. I say we fire her!
The man was the senior management responsible for hiring Akagi. Not only my colleagues, but even my managers had a look of dread on their faces. Expecting the worst, I showed the man the messages Akagi had sent me. My grandfather passed the other day. These are the messages Akagi-senpai sent me. He also said, stop whining over old people dying, and come straight to work after the funeral. I also have voice messages. Please, take this into consideration when deciding whether my words were inappropriate. The senior manager gave my phone a look. Suddenly, his face became bright red.
Hey, Keita! This is unacceptable! Apologize to her! But why, Uncle? I thought you were on my side! Cremate your grandfather and get straight back to work? The death of old relatives is not a big deal? Who on earth says that to someone who's lost a family member? I can't leave someone so lacking in compassion in charge of this company! Forget about that promotion! I'm no longer putting in a good word for you. From now on, you're by yourself! No, this can't be!
Seizing the opportunity, everyone in the office began to spill the beans on Akagi to the senior manager. So much so that Akagi was taken off the promotion track and was sent to work at a faraway, tiny office on an island. The place was filled with part-time housewives and week-old men. The office was in the middle of nowhere, the kind of place that didn't even have streetlights at night. Not being able to stand it, Akagi quit after a month. As a result of kicking out Akagi, I became something of a hero at the office. It's not as if it was planned or anything. All I did was lose my temper, actually. But with Akagi gone, the office now has a great vibe. Hopefully no more horrible managers for the foreseeable future.